The sky over Dallas turned red just before noon. It was not the color of sunset. It was something else, something that felt wrong. People stopped in the streets, pointing their phones at the sky. Then the ground shook. A shape, huge and glowing, came down from the clouds. It landed outside the city with a sound like thunder. Windows shattered for miles. Car alarms screamed. At first, people thought it was a meteor. But then it moved. The thing stood up on four massive legs. Its body looked like a mix of metal and living muscle, glowing from the inside with orange light. Its head was like a hammerhead shark, with two glowing eyes that scanned everything. Its tail whipped behind it like a living whip, slicing through trees like paper. News helicopters appeared within minutes. The creature turned its head toward them, almost curious. Then it roared. The roar shook the entire city. People ran in every direction. Highways jammed with cars as everyone tried to escape. The U.S. Army moved fast. Within an hour, tanks and armored trucks surrounded the city's edge. Fighter jets roared overhead. Inside a military command tent, Jack Reynolds watched the live feeds with cold eyes. Jack was a former Marine, now a robotics engineer. He had seen war before, but never anything like this. "This isn't a machine," Jack said quietly. "It's alive." Beside him, Maya Collins, a tough army officer with a scar on her cheek, crossed her arms. "Alive or not, it's killing people. We're going to take it down." Jack didn't argue. He just kept watching the screen. The first attack came fast. Tanks opened fire. Missiles streaked through the air. The monster barely flinched. The blasts hit its glowing skin, but it only grew brighter, like it was feeding on the energy. Then it moved. It was faster than anything that big should be. It leapt forward, smashing tanks with its legs. It swiped its tail, flipping an armored truck into the air. Soldiers ran for cover as the creature crushed everything in its path. Maya grabbed the radio. Fall back now." The command post shook as the monster slammed one of its legs into the ground. The entire highway cracked like glass. Jack watched, frozen. Something about the way the monster moved was strange. It wasn't just random destruction. Its head kept turning, looking at things, studying them, like a curious animal. "It's not just attacking," Jack said. "It's learning." Maya shot him a look. "Learning what?" Jack didn't answer. The creature stopped suddenly. Its glowing eyes turned toward the nearest news drone hovering in the air. Then, to everyone's shock, it leaned closer like it was staring straight into the camera. Inside the command tent, silence fell. Everyone watched the live feed. The monster tilted its head slightly. Its glowing tail slowed, almost calm. Jack felt a chill run down his spine. "It knows we're watching," he whispered. Before anyone could react, the monster let out another roar, louder than before. The sound tore through the speakers, making soldiers cover their ears. Then it turned and walked away from the wreckage, heading deeper into the city. Maya slammed her fist on the table. "It's going after civilians. We can't let it reach downtown." She turned to Jack. "You're the robotics guy. Tell me you have an idea before this thing kills half the city." Jack hesitated. He did have an idea, but it was dangerous. "I saw something," he said slowly. "When the helicopters flew overhead, its glow pulsed. Like it was reacting to the sound." "You think it can hear us?" Maya asked. "I think it can be controlled," Jack said. "At least, maybe." Maya raised an eyebrow. "Controlled? That thing just destroyed half our armor. You think we can put a leash on it?" Jack's jaw tightened. "If we don't try, we're all dead." Before Maya could answer, a soldier shouted from the monitor station. "It stopped. It's not moving." Everyone turned toward the screen. The monster was standing perfectly still at the edge of the city, glowing softly. Its head was tilted again, as if listening to something only it could hear. Jack leaned closer to the screen, heart pounding. This was his chance. "Get me a sound truck," Jack said. "And the loudest speakers you have." Maya stared at him like he was crazy. "You want to talk to it?" "No," Jack said, his voice calm but urgent. "I want to see if it listens." The room went silent again. Outside, the monster's glowing eyes still faced the city. And for one terrible moment, it almost looked like it was waiting for an answer. Soldiers worked fast. Within minutes, a military sound truck rolled into position near the command post. Its massive speakers pointed toward the city where the monster stood like a glowing statue. Jack climbed onto the back of the truck, gripping a portable sound controller. His heart pounded. He had no plan, only a theory. Maya joined him, helmet on, rifle slung over her shoulder. "You're sure about this?" she asked. "No," Jack said honestly. "But if we don't try, that thing will reach downtown in less than an hour. Then we'll be burying thousands of people." Maya nodded grimly. "Then let's do it." The truck's engine rumbled. Power surged through the speakers. Jack selected a sound file, an ultra-low frequency hum normally used to test large machines. "Turn it up," Jack said. The hum rolled out across the empty highway, deep and strange, almost like a giant heartbeat. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the monster's glow brightened. It turned its massive head toward the sound truck, eyes burning like fire. "Hold steady," Maya ordered the soldiers, who already had their rifles aimed. The creature took one slow step toward them. Then another. Jack's hands shook as he adjusted the frequency. Suddenly, the monster stopped. Its tail, which had been whipping in the air, dropped slowly to the ground. "It's working," Jack whispered. The glow on the monster's chest pulsed in rhythm with the sound. It was listening. Jack changed the frequency again, raising the pitch slightly. The monster moved its head to the side, as if curious. "Try something else," Maya urged. Jack switched to a short, repeating pulse. The monster's massive legs bent slightly, lowering its body to the ground. Maya's mouth fell open. "Jack, it's kneeling." The soldiers stared, stunned. For the first time since it arrived, the monster wasn't destroying anything. It was calm. Jack's heart raced. Okay, now let's see if you'll move." He changed the sound to a long rising tone, then pointed toward the open highway. The monster tilted its head again, then slowly turned in the direction Jack pointed. And then it walked. Each step made the ground shake, but it didn't attack. It simply followed the invisible command, moving down the empty road like an obedient animal. Inside the command tent, generals and technicians were shouting in disbelief. "What the hell just happened?" one of them demanded. Maya stepped off the truck, never taking her eyes off the glowing creature. "We didn't stop it with weapons," she said. "We stopped it with sound." Jack climbed down, breathing hard. "Not just stopped it? We controlled it?" The generals exchanged uneasy looks. This wasn't a victory they could easily explain. "Keep it away from the city," one of them barked. "If this works, push it toward the empty fields. Keep civilians safe." Jack nodded and adjusted the sound again. The monster followed, heading away from Dallas. For the next hour, they guided it slowly into the wide plains beyond the city. Helicopters followed at a safe distance, broadcasting the unbelievable footage live across the world. People everywhere watched in shock. The monster that had crushed tanks was now walking calmly, almost peacefully, under human control. When it finally stopped near an abandoned quarry, Jack cut the sound. The monster stood still for a long moment, glowing faintly. Then it folded its legs and lowered itself to the ground like a resting animal. The soldiers stayed back, weapons ready. Maya glanced at Jack. I don't believe it. You just turned the end of the world into a pet. Jack didn't smile. He couldn't. His mind was racing. This was just one, he said quietly. What happens when they send more? Maya's expression hardened. Then we do this again. And again. Until we win. Before Jack could answer, one of the radar techs shouted from the command truck. Sir. We're picking up more objects in orbit. At least 3, no, 4. They're coming in fast. Everyone froze. Jack turned back toward the monster. Its glowing eyes were open again, watching him. For a second, he could have sworn it looked ready. The quarry was quiet except for the faint hum of generators and the distant sound of helicopters circling overhead. Soldiers kept a wide perimeter, rifles ready, but no one wanted to get too close. The monster, now lying like a giant, glowing sphinx, wasn't moving. Its breathing was slow, like a sleeping animal. Jack stood a few feet from the sound truck, staring at it. Every time the creature's chest glowed, he felt like it was waiting. Maya walked up beside him, helmet under her arm. You should get some rest, she said. Jack shook his head. It's listening. Even now. Maya followed his gaze. It hasn't moved in hours. Maybe it's just recharging. Jack smirked faintly. Or maybe it's waiting for me to tell it what to do next. Maya gave him a look. You're starting to sound like it's your dog. Jack didn't answer. Deep down, a part of him already felt that way. The first experiment. The next morning, they brought in a portable lab. Jack and a small team of engineers set up sound generators with different frequencies. Let's see if you're paying attention, Jack muttered as he turned on the first signal. The monster's head lifted instantly. Its glowing eyes focused on the truck. Okay, Jack said softly, that's a yes. He switched to a different tone. The monster stood up, slow but steady. Still with me, Jack said. Maya and the soldiers watched from a safe distance. Jack raised his hand, pointing left. The monster turned left. He pointed right. It turned right. Jack grinned despite himself. Good boy. Maya muttered under her breath. God help us, it really is acting like a dog. Giving it a name. By the second day, the monster was responding faster to the signals. It even crouched when Jack played a short descending tone, as if it understood the command to sit. The soldiers started whispering about it, giving it nicknames. Tank Killer. Hell Beast. The Alien. Jack ignored them. To him, it needed a name that meant something else, something human. Rex, he said finally, standing near the speakers. We'll call you Rex. The monster tilted its massive head, as if reacting to the sound of the name. Jack smiled. Yeah. You heard me. Maya crossed her arms but didn't argue. Fine. Rex it is. But if it turns on us, that name's going in your file. Earning trust. Jack decided to take a risk. He shut down the sound generator completely. The soldiers shouted in alarm, but Jack raised a hand. Wait. The quarry went silent. Rex stood there, still glowing faintly. Jack slowly stepped forward, one cautious step at a time. Maya's voice came through his earpiece. Reynolds, you're insane. Get back. Jack kept walking. If it wanted me dead, it wouldn't wait. I need to know if it listens without the signal. He stopped a few feet from Rex's massive front leg. The creature's head lowered, until its glowing eyes were level with Jack's. For a long moment, they just stared at each other. Jack swallowed hard. Sit, he said quietly, even though there was no sound command playing. Rex's chest glowed once, Then the monster lowered itself back down onto the ground. Jack laughed in disbelief. It understands me. Maya cursed over the comms. You just taught an alien war machine to obey voice commands. This is either the best day of my life or the last. The emotional turn. That night, a storm rolled over the quarry. Lightning flashed across the sky. Jack stood outside, watching the rain fall over Rex's glowing body. Suddenly, an explosion shook the far end of the perimeter. One of the generator trucks had been struck by lightning, setting it on fire. A soldier was trapped under the wreckage. Before Jack or Maya could react, Rex moved. It leapt forward, tail smashing through the burning debris. With one clawed leg, it lifted the wreckage and tossed it aside, freeing the soldier. Then it backed away, crouching low, almost like it was afraid it had done something wrong. Jack ran forward, soaked from the rain. "You saved him," he whispered. Rex stayed perfectly still, glowing softly. Maya approached, rifle lowered. "Well, I guess that answers the question. It's not just following orders anymore. It's choosing." Jack nodded slowly. His gut told him she was right. The conflict deepens. The next morning, a general arrived at the quarry. He was not happy. "You had orders to destroy that thing," the general snapped at Maya. "Instead, you're training it like some circus animal." Jack stepped forward. "Sir, with respect, it saved one of our men last night. It's not just a weapon anymore, it's an asset." The general's face hardened. "And what happens when it turns on you? What happens when the next one lands? You can't tame an invasion." Jack didn't back down. "If we destroy it, the aliens will just send another one. But if we control it, we have a chance to fight back." The general didn't answer. He just stared at Rex, who was watching silently from the edge of the quarry, glowing like a giant watchful guardian. And then the alarms went off. Satellite images showed new heat signatures entering Earth's atmosphere. Not one, not two, three massive objects, bigger than Rex, heading straight for New York. Maya turned to Jack. "Looks like we're about to find out if your pet is ready for war." Jack stared at Rex. The monster's chest began to glow brighter, like it understood what was coming. For the first time, Jack felt something strange. Not fear, hope. The command tent was buzzing with voices, maps, and screens showing 3 incoming alien signatures. They were only hours away from landing. Jack stood in the middle of the chaos, staring at the satellite feed. Each of the incoming objects was bigger than Rex. "They're not sending scouts this time," Jack said grimly. "They're sending an army." Maya adjusted her headset. "Then we better make sure Rex is ready." The general slammed a fist on the table. "We are not releasing that thing near civilians. If it goes berserk, we lose everything." Jack turned to face him. "If we don't use Rex, we lose anyway. You saw what happened in Dallas. Our weapons barely scratched it. These new ones will level New York in minutes." The tent went quiet. Everyone was listening now. Jack took a breath. "Give me 6 hours. I can teach Rex more commands. I can make him fight for us." The general hesitated. Then, finally, he nodded. 6 hours. After that, if it can't follow orders, we end this experiment permanently. Training for war. The quarry became a training ground. Tanks rolled into position as decoys. Drones flew overhead, dropping practice targets. Jack stood by the speakers, voice hoarse as he shouted commands. "Left. Attack. Stop." Rex obeyed, slower at first, then faster with each round. Its tail whipped through old vehicles like they were tin cans. Its claws tore through steel targets. By the 3rd hour, Rex was anticipating commands before Jack finished saying them. "He's learning faster than I expected," Jack said, wiping sweat from his face. Maya stood nearby, arms crossed, a hint of pride in her expression. He's not just learning. He's protecting. Look. Rex had just finished smashing a target, but when one of the soldiers tripped and fell nearby, it stopped instantly, crouching as if to avoid scaring him. Jack smiled faintly. Good boy. The world reacts. The footage of Rex training leaked to the media. Across the world, people watched in shock. Some called Rex a hero. Others called him a nightmare waiting to happen. In New York, crowds protested, demanding the government destroy the alien beast before it turned on humanity. In Washington, a secret council met. Some leaders wanted to surrender, hoping the aliens would spare Earth if they gave Rex back. But when the alien transmission came, all hope of peace ended. The sky lit up with symbols no one could understand until a voice spoke in perfect English. Return what is ours. Or face extinction. The message repeated 3 times, then cut out. Maya stood in the command tent, fists clenched. That settles it. We fight. Humanity's gamble. Jack approached Rex, standing at the edge of the quarry, glowing brighter than ever. You hear that? Jack said quietly. They're coming for you. For all of us. Rex's head tilted, and for a moment, Jack swore it understood. He placed a hand against the glowing metal of its leg. You ready to show them what you are? Rex's chest flared with light, as if answering yes. Maya walked up beside Jack. We're putting everything on one card, she said. If Rex fails, we lose New York. Maybe the whole planet. Jack nodded. Then we make sure he doesn't fail. The march to battle. 6 hours later, the transport convoy rolled out. Rex walked alongside military trucks, its massive frame shaking the ground. People lined the highways, staring in awe as the glowing giant passed. Some cheered. Some threw things. Most just watched in silence, phones recording every second. In the command truck, Jack monitored Rex's vitals. He's calm, he said. Maya nodded. Let's hope he stays that way when the fight starts. The enemy lands. In New York, the first alien monster hit the ground with an earth-shaking crash. Then the second. Then the third. Each one was larger than Rex, their bodies spiked and glowing with sickly green light. The city was already evacuating, but there wasn't enough time. People screamed as the creatures began tearing through streets and buildings. Jack's convoy arrived just outside the city. He took a deep breath. Open the gates. Rex stepped off the transport platform, tail lashing, eyes blazing like fire. The alien monsters turned as one, their glowing chests pulsing faster. They know him, Maya said softly. Jack raised the signal device. All right, Rex, he said. Let's see what you've got. Rex let out a roar so loud it shook the windows of the nearby skyscrapers. And then it charged. Cliffhanger ending. The first impact was like 2 freight trains colliding. Rex slammed into the nearest alien monster, knocking it back through a half-destroyed building. Soldiers and civilians alike stared in shock as the monster they once feared fought to save them. Jack's voice came over the radio. All units, move in. Support Rex. Maya gripped her rifle and nodded. Let's finish this. The battle for New York had begun. New York burned. Skyscrapers stood like broken teeth against the glowing sky, smoke rising between them. The 3 alien monsters roared in unison, their green light flashing like lightning. Rex answered with a roar that shook the ground. Jack stood on the roof of the command truck, gripping the signal device tight. Go, Rex, he shouted. Rex charged, claws tearing through the pavement. The first alien monster swung its tail, but Rex ducked low, slamming into its chest and knocking it backward into a burning bus. Soldiers opened fire from the rooftops. Tanks rolled in, firing shells to keep the other 2 monsters busy. Keep them away from civilians. Maya yelled over the radio. The battle turned into chaos. The first kill. Rex grappled with the first monster, biting down with its metal jaws. Sparks flew as glowing blood splashed onto the concrete. Jack changed the signal frequency and attack command. Rex responded instantly, slamming its claws into the monster's chest. With a final, deafening roar, Rex tore the creature apart, throwing its lifeless body into the Hudson River. The soldiers on the ground cheered, but there was no time to celebrate. The second monster barreled forward, smashing through a tank like it was paper. Maya jumped into a Humvee, driving straight toward it. Jack, keep Rex on the big one. I'll draw the second one away. Maya, wait. Jack shouted, but she was already gone. Close call. The second monster spotted Maya's Humvee and swung its tail. The vehicle flipped, crashing onto its roof. Maya! Jack shouted into the radio, panic rising in his throat. Rex's chest glowed brighter, as if sensing Jack's fear. Without waiting for a command, Rex turned and sprinted toward Maya's position. It slammed into the second monster with a force that cracked the street. Rex wrapped its tail around the alien's neck and threw it against a building, shattering the wall. Maya crawled out of the wreckage, coughing. She looked up just as Rex planted a claw between her and the alien monster, shielding her. For a moment, it looked like the creature was protecting her like a guard dog. Jack's voice came through her earpiece. Get clear, Maya. He's got this. Turning the tide. Rex leapt onto the second monster, ripping at its glowing armor. The creature fought back, slashing Rex across the side. Jack's heart sank as he saw Rex stumble, but the giant roared and pressed on, driving its claws deep until the monster went still. 2 down. 1 left. The last alien monster, the largest of the 3, let out a roar so loud that windows shattered for blocks. Its glow turned blood red. It's getting stronger, Jack realized. It's feeding on the other's energy. The monster charged straight toward the command truck. Fall back, the general ordered, but Jack stood his ground. He raised the signal device, turning the frequency to maximum output. Rex, now! Jack screamed. The final clash. Rex hurled himself at the last monster. The impact made the ground buckle. The 2 titans fought like wild beasts, biting, clawing, slamming into buildings. Entire streets collapsed under their weight. The monster pinned Rex against a wall, its claws digging into his chest. Sparks and glowing liquid sprayed everywhere. No! Jack shouted, twisting the dial to a higher frequency, one he had never used before. Rex's glow exploded into blinding white light. With a final, earth-shaking roar, Rex broke free, grabbed the monster by the head, and slammed it into the ground so hard the concrete cracked like ice. Rex raised its claw and brought it down one last time, crushing the alien's skull. Silence fell. Then, slowly, Rex stood over the fallen monster, chest still glowing, but softer now, calmer. The aftermath. Soldiers emerged from cover, staring in disbelief. We won, one of them whispered. Maya limped over to Jack, who was still holding the signal device. I think he just saved the planet, she said softly. Jack lowered the device. No, he said, smiling faintly. He chose to save it. Rex turned toward them, glowing faintly. It lowered its massive head until its eyes were level with Jack. For a moment, the world seemed to hold its breath. Jack placed his hand on Rex's head. Good boy, he said quietly. Rex let out one final, low rumble, almost like a purr, before turning toward the horizon. The alien fleet in orbit had gone dark. One by one, their signatures blinked off the radar. They were retreating. Resolution. Days later, the world was still talking about the battle. News networks called Rex the savior of New York. Some wanted him destroyed, fearing he could still turn on humanity. But most saw him as something else, proof that humanity could turn even its greatest threat into its greatest defender. Jack and Maya stood on a ridge outside the city, watching Rex from a distance as he rested peacefully. "They sent a monster to crush us," Maya said. Jack nodded. "But we tamed it. And now it's ours." For the first time since the invasion began, Jack felt hope for the future.